Hey Bert, just me again. We're going to try to go ahead and talk about how to stretch your elbow to give you some better range of motion. So I'm going to give you a couple of different ideas on ways you can try to accomplish that at home. I typically suggest that most people start with some form of heating to the elbow. So if you have even like a hand towel that you can moisten, wring out, stick it in the microwave for less than a minute, and then wrap that towel around the elbow. And you might have to reheat it a few times, but you want to heat for about 8 minutes before you do your stretches. That's just going to make the tissue more elastic, so you're going to get a better result. It's also going to be more comfortable for you to stretch if the tissue is warmed versus if it's tight and cold. So we'll talk about several different ways of stretching. First one is I'll go ahead and talk to you about how to do it over the edge of a table, like your dining room table. So I'm going to use the edge of our doctor's office desk here. So I typically have people just go ahead and put an elbow over the edge, that way you're not hitting your elbow on the back side there on the tough edge of the table. And what you're going to use that table for is literally to block you from cheating. Most people with a stiff elbow, when they say, okay, extend the elbow, they do this with the shoulder. So there's nothing happening at the elbow, they're just trying to make it straighter by compensating the shoulder. So you want to have something that blocks you from being able to extend at the shoulder. It just focuses on the ability then to extend the arm straight. So that's why I use the end of a table. So you can go ahead and block the back part of your arm over the edge of your table. You can use the back of your chair, a wall, or even your other arm like I did before. And then you want to use a little weight. This is a 2-pound weight, but you can probably use 1-2 pounds, a soup can, whatever you can tolerate initially. And then go ahead and hold that weight and let gravity and the weight stretch your arm down into extension. So you're going to get this nice long stretch of extension. You're going to want to hold that for a good 10, 15, 30 seconds, whatever you can tolerate. Then take the weight off. Go ahead and shake it out, rest it, and go ahead and do that again more. So you'll probably want to do about 12 to 15 repetitions of that for elbow extension or straightening, which I'm sure you're probably a good few degrees short of achieving full extension of the elbow. The other thing you obviously want to work on is flexion. That's most functional for you to be able to bring the hand up to your mouth, etc. So we've talked about having you do active, assistive, kind of passive stretch. You're pushing the arm into flexion. That's a good way of manually stretching into a flexion. But there again is multiple ways of stretching with weight, for example. So if you have that weight, again, we did this. You can also do almost like a tricep extension exercise. So you can hold the weight. This is going to be difficult for you if you have pain at your shoulder. So a way of modifying that is if you're lying down and you can keep your arm kind of here so your shoulder's about 90 degrees, and then just bring the weight towards your head. So again, if you're lying on the couch, your bed, the floor, you can again just work on stretching into flexion with gravity. The other way that might be more comfortable for you, again, is that if you go up to a wall or even on the edge of a desk, you can do a lean. In other words, you can literally lean into the elbow to stretch into flexion too, so that you're getting some resistance, and you can adjust that based upon then how much you're leaning into it or leaning off of it, and then push that elbow into your body so you're flexing that direction. That might be more comfortable for you too because of pain still in the arm or the shoulder if you do anything that's considered lifting. So those are some ways of stretching into flexion and extension. Like I said, manually stretching as far as you can is great. More than likely you might be at the stage right now where you need to take your splint off to do exercises. If that splint is binding you, they tend to get a little long. If it binds you so you can't go flexion, or you can't flex to a certain point because that brace is bothering you, you need to take the brace off then so you can focus then on getting full range of motion of the elbow. You should feel more comfortable doing that now that you've had it for a couple weeks, and it's not a big deal to take it off for exercises. The pendulums probably are still a good idea if you can do those, or active assistive shoulder exercises, so lifting the arm up this direction straight ahead of you, going out to the side, doing some exercises of the shoulder too probably is not a bad idea, again, if it's pain-free. But the elbow, he's right, you need to move that elbow along so you don't get a contracture or get stiff. But that's, again, pretty common for people with these injuries to get stiffness. And so he's probably just being pretty proactive about making sure it doesn't get worse, which is a good idea. So heating before, using weights to stretch, doing anything that is considered a long stretch. So in other words, you're holding the position for a long period of time until you acclimate to it and then push it further. Those are usually the most productive ways. If using weights are uncomfortable, then Chris can help you. Again, if you're lying down flat on your bed or on the floor or on the couch, Chris can actually help by just getting you to flexion and then him pushing your elbow, into flexion, as well as pushing your arm straight into extension. So he might be able to do a little manual therapy on you that way too. So otherwise, just keep doing what you're doing. Make sure that the swelling stays down. Ice if you need to afterwards for pain, but heat before, ice after, long stretches, and just get cranking on it as long as it's comfortable. So hope that's enough information. We'll talk to you soon. Love you. Bye.